In this video, I'm going to cover the new SVS Ultra Evolution series speakers. Before I get going, please subscribe. And as you can see, I've got some things going on in here. I've got the PB2000 Pros and the PB1000 Pros stacked on top. I know the TV needs to go up about 2 inches. Some of you already know about the new Ultra Evolution series from SVS. And this is just my initial take on it from what I've seen so far. I haven't heard them yet, but I'm going to give you some recommendations based on past experiences. I've had a good relationship with SVS since 2015, and I asked them to start their affiliate program. I wanted it because their subwoofers are definitely on point. SVS, they embrace things that work, and a great example of that is the split line voice coil in the PB3000. It basically makes an 800 watt sub hit and have the explosiveness of something like a 1200 watt subwoofer. And what I like about these towers is the time alignment. Now, like I said, I haven't heard it yet. But for those of you that have done my distance hack, you've experienced the benefits of optimal time alignment. And to be clear, I'm in no way, shape, or form trying to take credit for SVS designing these Evolution speakers. Okay, not at all. I'm just saying that time alignment is important. Much like my distance hack, they're putting the bass more forward than a typical tower. In most towers, there's a slight time alignment disparity. The tweeter cone is closest to the surface, the mid-range cone is a little deeper, and the bass driver cone is the furthest back. Basically, they lined everything up so you get this new shape. In my experience, they don't do things to keep up with the Joneses. They just do what works and what makes sense. Another design feature I find interesting is the drivers in the back. These aren't passive radiators. They're active drivers that match the front drivers. It's a really interesting concept. If you're tight on space and you need to put these really close to the wall, due to the shape, that's not a problem. A little more room to breathe is always good. It's a good idea, but it makes it more accessible to those who don't have the perfect room. It's definitely a departure, and I look forward to hearing how the new design affects the sound. I probably should have led with this. The new elevations. As I understand it, it's one of the most requested speakers to have an Ultra Series elevation speaker. Now, with a strong degree of confidence, if you're looking for an upgraded elevation speaker, this one's a no-brainer. The elevations are one of the best-selling speakers SVS has, and it's the one I can blindly recommend to anyone. There are other people that mix and match these speakers with other brands just because they sound good and they handle that Dolby Atmos DTS:X duty a lot better than, say, something that reflects off the ceiling, all that nonsense. They're height speakers, they're angled down. I don't just use them for elevation, I use them for surround, and I've even used them as fronts and center. There's a reason they're that popular. Another tip I can comfortably give is that they design their speakers for the long run. And there's two things I mean by that. They don't come up with new speakers every year.
Which is, we don't launch new products just for the sake of launching a new product.
But also, when you first get them, they do need to break in a little bit. They're looking for the best possible sound for the life of the speaker. And that's always been true of their speakers. After a few weeks, they really sweeten up, they relax, and you get the sound that was originally intended. So I would say don't judge them until you notice a little bit of a change, which will probably happen by week 3 or so for most people. Now, if it's doable and you want to get the break-in process done sooner, maybe leave it on a low volume playing some music during the day while you're at work or whatever. It's definitely not necessary. It's just a little tip for the impatient. There might be a few out there. I'm also curious to hear the new diamond-coated tweeters and overall how these speakers are voiced. Some people don't realize that the voicing process is such a critical aspect when it comes to making great speakers. The process they go through is pretty grueling, and just thinking about what they have to do, it gives me a headache. And I go through and listen to the same material over and over and over again. Speakers are a personal thing. If you find a pair that you like, it's not just the components. More than you might realize, you share preferences with the people who are actually voicing the speakers. I know they go through a bunch of different crossover configurations, driver configurations, and really search for the best possible sound as a whole, rather than just being a list of components that gets slapped together. The center channel and the bookshelves are going to have the same voicing as well as the elevations and everything else in the Evolution line. It's going to be good for 2-channel as well as home theater, and I'm working on a video specifically about being able to enjoy both. 2-channel audio is a big deal. It's very high-end and critical, and you really have to be on top of your game, and they know that. Being able to have this higher level of sound and still being able to use it in a home theater setting, really, that's truly the best of both worlds. And I understand there are a lot of people who are huge on 2-channel. I happen to prefer the surround sound experience, and you don't have to look any further than the Eagles Blu-ray. I am really looking forward to hearing that above all else, because that's going to be full lossless audio produced specifically for surround sound through high-grade speakers. It's probably going to sound pretty good. What I can say is I seem to share the same preferences as those who voice their speakers, like Smith Freeman. What he likes in a speaker also seems to be what I like as well. It's not like subwoofers where you can measure it and graph it and say, this is why this subwoofer is better than this other subwoofer and this is why it's important. It's not like that with speakers. It really matters what your personal tastes are and what you like and what you're looking for in your sound. I have found their speakers very enjoyable. And SVS is excited about this line, and I would say a little bit more than usual. And it's not a cheap line of speakers, so it would be pretty unreasonable to think that the speakers wouldn't be impressive. They're not the type that go backwards. I don't think SVS has ever made like a really cheap speaker, but there's always been a strong level of value. Even with their least expensive speaker, the Prime Satellite, looking at those, you couldn't honestly say that they aren't high quality. Those things are built really solid, and they're heavy for the size they are. And the Ultra Towers, which they're phasing out, have a really strong following. According to a lot of people, they punch above their weight. I know I sure enjoyed them. So if you're excited about these speakers and you want to get your hands on them, I'd say don't sleep on them. That means it'll take longer for me to actually get a set to review, but I'm really glad they prioritize customers first, because that's exactly how it should be. I appreciate all the support, following my links, the likes, the comments, shares. Every bit of it is appreciated and truly humbling. As always, thanks so much for watching, and please subscribe.
It's a semi-random pattern based on a cellular structure, and so that all meshed together creates a lattice that suspends the diffusing ring.
So do you have too much time on your hands? Because it's a lot of detail, and that is really cool.
I mean,
we didn't want to call it Ultra Evolution Elevation because you feel drunk when you're trying to say it. The goal has always been acoustic neutrality. We don't want to have like, oh, that sounds like an SVS speaker. We want to have it be a speaker that is transparent, believable, convincing, and refined. And that shouldn't be something that has its own sonic signature.
Some of the things that we've put into these speakers have been the things that I've been studying and working towards my whole career. So I can't believe that we're actually doing it.
So, I mean, that's a great way to end this. Ultra Evolution speakers are the culmination of everyone at SVS's life's work to create great sound for everyone. Thanks.
Happy listening.